And we're singing. We're singing.
Dun, 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 dun.
Time to talk.
Vampire.
Beauty and the Bitch.
Yeah.
Oh, Mickey.
Oh, Morgan.
I have to tell you, because we love to talk about books, I just read the best fucking book to recommend.
Okay.
It's called A Girl and Her Cow.
A Girl and Her Cow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is like awful title, right?
It's not the
but,
best.
Don't judge a book by its cover, okay?
It's the Morgan titles.
Yeah, it's this really great, epic... Okay, I heard you now. It's this great, like, epic, like, adventure sort of thing. Like, journey of a girl.
Okay.
Her name's Marfa.
Marfa. Okay.
And she...
It's a choice.
She goes on this journey and she
What's her
meets,
full name? Marfa what?
Texas.
Marfa Texas. Wait.
She meets this cow.
Wait.
His name's Bevo.
Oh my god. So her name is Marfa Texas, and she has met a cow named Beefo.
Okay, first of all, I said Marfa, Texas.
Oh, you said Texas.
And his name is Bevo.
Bevo. Oh, so we're Texas themed.
First of all,
See,
I feel like you're not even listening.
I am listening.
Lost you on my
I just
journey.
misunderstood the two words, and so the absurdity of the whole thing is what really got
And then
me.
she goes on her journey with Bevo.
Where they go?
To some lands.
Okay.
And long story short, too long don't read. Turns out she's a princess, and
Wow.
she fucked that cow.
So that's how the centaur was born.
And thus,
Wow.
history.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It really is
Actually,
true.
Mr. Tumnus was also a byproduct.
Oh.
This was in the past future. It's also adjacent multiverse to Chronicles of Narnia.
Which makes sense, and which is actually real life, and in my headcanon is kind of true.
And yeah, facts, all facts.
Okay, so I'm not trying to call you out. Okay. I want to make it very clear right from the bat that I'm coming at this from a place of love and respect.
Okay. Doesn't feel like it, but go ahead.
But your punk ass just stole everything from C.S. Lewis's The Horse and His Boy.
Including the fucking thing?
You said
Including
some cow.
the fucking
not
thing.
the fucking thing.
Okay, so when you
Not
said
the fucking
literally
thing.
everything I said was stolen, what had happened was
Well,
you think the horse and his boy was fucking. That's what I get out of what
I
you just
think
said.
that had things turned out differently, Shasta would have taken a dick. Yes, I do think that. Yes, I do. If that's the question, affirmative.
Yeah.
Okay, but no, Shasta never fucks his horse, Bree, in the book. No, but everything else seems, especially the whole she's a princess at the end. Like that's very from The Horse and His Boy.
Do you think on a scale of 0 to 10, like how much would C.S. Lewis be proud of us as people?
Oh, he would not.
Yeah.
He would not
Closer
like
to the
us.
0 side?
He would not like us.
I can live with that.
No, actually, I think he could like us okay, but he would like us in the way that a grandfather likes his grandchild's annoying friend, who is like smart and like a good person. They're not like don't be friends with that person, but they're also like maybe don't bring them to dinner anymore because they're trash. You know, I feel like that's what we would be because he was pretty conservative in his way.
He sure was.
I think he would like our minds, but not our personalities.
Oh my god, that happens to us all the time.
Oh my god, and it's like, I'm like, please look past my mind.
I'm like, I'm more than my boobs.
Right?
But sort of.
Are you?
No.
Nah, no. You know, Michelle Visage just got her tits taken out.
Oh,
fake
I remember
tits.
you talking about that.
Oh, I talked about that already?
No,
Okay.
but you were saying it was going to happen, and people
Yeah.
were like, ooh, what are you doing? It defines you.
It's crazy. She looks so small now. I'm not, of course, I'm very much in support. You do whatever you want with your body, and there were some health issues that she supposedly had, which I believe, but I just don't know anything about. But yeah, she looks literally half the size because her breasts were huge.
Yeah.
And now that they're taken out, she looks shorter. She looks more petite.
Uh-huh.
She's always been tiny, but those boobs threw you off.
Man,
or
I
at
bet
least
her
they
back
did.
feels better.
I bet so. I'm happy for her.
Yeah.
Anyway. So I'm going to get my boobs taken out too.
I think you should. It's
I think-
excessive.
Yeah, it's too much. It's too much. That's all I have to say.
So what are we even talking about today?
Oh, yeah, thank you. We're talking about The Horse and His Boy, which is the 5th book in chronologically publishing order that came out from the Chronicles of Narnia. Now, Morgie, this book came out in 1954, so you were 22.
I was,
came
but
out?
it was just after your 30th birthday.
Oh, so now I'm
Yeah.
8 years older than you. Interesting.
And we're both old as hell.
Yes, at this point, doesn't even matter. We're both fucking ancient. No, but, okay, so 1954 is when it came out. What is your sort of feeling about this book within the Chronicles of Narnia? Forgettable. Very fair. Very fair. Very fair.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Also, like, doesn't feature strong female leads. Missing that aspect. And to me, doesn't feature strong characters.
For
memory.
I'm going to read off a character and you give me what you remember to be their story. It's fine if it's completely wrong.
Okay.
It's kind of hilarious, actually. Okay, let's start with Bree.
So, Bree was just like a slice of cheese. Really good if you could bake him or her. Also excellent spread on a nice thin baguette.
Girl, you think a stinky piece of cheese is a main character in the 6th book of the Chronicles of Narnia?
First of all,
I must lambast you. This is horrible.
I don't know why you're acting like that's crazy. Like, you didn't see Mr. Tumnus feasting for like 53 pages.
Fair enough. And they do love cheese, fruit, and bread.
Girl,
that's what they love. And then wine. They love red wine. Okay, well, bad guess, though. Bree is a seemingly impressive but actually useless comedic relief type warhorse.
Oh my God, it's me.
From Narnia.
It's me.
Well, he's very much a man, and he's very much a male character. So in that way, he's not you. But as far as the, like, seems great but is actually useless, yes, hole in one.
So mean.
You're not useless.
Thank you.
You do seem useless. Actually, you're the opposite. You seem like trash, but you're actually sterling.
I stand by that.
Yeah, and ditto. I mean, me too.
Same.
You know. Okay, so that's Bree, one of the main characters, talking horse from Narnia. Tell me about Aravis, which may or may not be how you say this.
Yeah.
Thing's name.
So, back when the
you're on a good road here. I like where you're going with. Yes, I say.
Okay.
So I'll give you a hint.
So the Dunedain.
Oh. Well,
we're a race of men.
I was wrong about the path you're on. It's a wrong path. It's a different series altogether.
But then Darth Vader was like, "But I'm your father."
And then Brandon Sanderson was like, "But I'm Mormon."
And then Brandon Stark was like, "Bitch, I synced him."
Ooh! And then Brandon Stark said, "I'm not Brandon Stark."
Ooh!
And then Jon Snow said, "What?"
And then Sansa was like, "We don't have time for this shit."
And then Arya was like, "A few."
And then Harry Potter was like, "What?"
And then our listeners were like, "Skip." Oh, damn.
Oh.
No, Aravis. Aravis is an interesting character. So she's a female main character.
Okay.
But I agree with what you said about not strong female protagonists, because all the females in this book, the women, the people born biologically sexually female, are fucking underwritten. And it is extremely obvious.
It's almost like C.S. Lewis wasn't in touch with the power of femininity.
It's a bit like that.
It's a bit like that.
One starts to think maybe he wasn't comfortable writing women because he didn't write women.
And the reason there's no brown people is not because he's racist.
Gotcha.
It's just because he's white.
Well, look, speaking of brown people, I mean, Aravis is technically brown. She's I don't even know how to say this word. Calorminian? Calorminian.
I like that word.
She's a Calorminian. And she is like a rich, fancy ass. She's like a 1%er in Calormen. And she's about to be married off to...
I hate that.
I know, right? The Grand Vizier's #1 advisor. So, like, kind of like, not really second command.
She's marrying Jafar.
Yeah.
This is Jasmine.
Well, except like pathetic non-evil Jafar. Oh, well, he might be evil because all the brown characters are
Jafar
evil.
Is.
Yeah,
So
but
I think we can all agree Jafar is kind of hot.
Can we?
Yeah, I think
No,
we can.
I don't think we can agree to that. I don't think we can agree to that. I disagree. We cannot agree. I don't think we can all agree on that. No.
You're right. You're more of like the Abu type.
I am. If it's Abu versus Jafar, I will fuck a monkey. I'm not having sex. His long nails, are you kidding me? I'd rather have Prince with the Sultan before I have sex with Jafar. And that is a true fact.
Interesting. A little squatty.
But he's nice, though. Okay. Jafar is icky. And I feel like he smells like fish, BO and dust.
He does look like he smells bad.
Yeah. And he would be the kind of person, he falls asleep against a bus window and then he raises his head up and there's a big smear of grease down the window.
Ooh.
I just am not into Jafar. I mean, I like him as a character.
You're not, fleshing him out to be a good alternative, so please go on with your
Okay,
story.
okay. So Aravis, she's supposed to marry this guy, the Jafar or whatever, and she's like, no, girl, I'm not the one, and so she runs away, and she runs away on an animal by the name of Hwin. What kind of animal do you think Hwin is?
Pegasus.
So close. Normal type horse,
Just a regular
but
one.
a talking horse.
That's normal.
Hwin is so both Bree and Hwin have been captured by the Calorminians. Is that how I said I was going to say it?
Yeah, that was.
So they were captured as children. So they're slaves. Okay. So they get taken to Calormen, and they don't tell the people there that they can talk, because that would make them like sideshow act. So they're just like functioning as horses, but in fact they're both like talking beings. Okay. So Hwin meets up with Aravis, and then they're traveling north to try to get to Narnia. And then along the way, they meet Bree and Shasta, who you misnamed and misgendered as, what'd you call her? Marfa. Marfa.
Texas.
Marfa. Well, Marfa don't exist. Well, Marfa does exist. And so do the lights.
In your dreams.
I've seen those lights.
I've seen them lights too.
I haven't really seen those lights.
Oh, I really did.
I agree. I mean, I'm sure they're there.
I'm not out there for the realists who are like, it's headlights. Did I fucking ask you? I didn't. It's magic.
But is it headlights?
It's only magic to me.
I believe in magic, so I'm into that. Do you think it's aliens, though, in Marfa, specifically? No, you think it's some kind of earth magic?
I think it's like a weird occurrence. You know, like when there's just like PowerPoints where there's like unidentified occurrences in that particular
like
area.
A ley line. You think it's like a ley line?
Yeah, something like that.
When you said PowerPoints, I thought of literal PowerPoints, like on a computer.
Presentations.
And I was like,
it's a Microsoft headquarters. Bill Gates lives there.
It's the least magic thing that could ever exist is a PowerPoint presentation.
Turn your attention to my PowerPoint on magic.
Okay, and then so there's also Shasta. Shasta's the main character. And Shasta,
he's a boy.
He's a boy.
He's got a horse.
He's got a horse. Well, at first he has a donkey who he loves.
I love donkeys.
But he has to leave the donkey behind. He's just a normal stupid donkey.
Yeah, he needs a horse.
And then Bree's slave owner, who's a lord in Calormen, he comes to the house of this fisherman who is Shasta's adopted father / slave owner / abusive piece of shit.
Sure.
Yeah. By the way, Shasta's an actual slave to a fisherman.
Yes.
So like his life, shit. It is shit. And then this lord comes along with his talking horse, but he doesn't know the horse talks, and he's like, "Girl, I want to bite." Well, I'll get there. He's like, I want to buy that lily white boy you have out there. And the fisherman's like, he's my son. And the Lord's like, girl, with skin like that, your brown ass had a lily white little boy. No, I'm going to buy him. So then they start talking about how much to pay for him, which, by the way, this is dark, but you know he was buying that sex. Because I feel like, because why else do you want a fisher, like a beautiful, pale fisherman's son who knows how to do nothing? You're buying him literally for looks because he's Narnian. Anyway, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
C.S. Lewis doesn't go there, and maybe I'm gross for immediately going there, but like, girl, I know how these stories go.
Dude, I don't
And
think
I know
so.
why a damn sultan / slave owner comes to buy your ass.
First of all,
I ain't no fool.
all the characters are like vanilla as far as like sexuality goes in the Narnia universe, but like humanity's still the fucking same no matter where you're at. So like in the adult version of this, absolutely.
That's exactly right. And also, look.
Like you don't think Caspian was trying to fuck? Caspian was trying to fuck.
Girl. He was young. He'd had a hard life. He was horny. And he had all the power, so why wouldn't he be?
Too.
He were cute. He were very cute. But then he went on to get lost in Westworld, and he done lost his damn mind.
That's a problem.
I told you how Caspian plays that boy in
Things get away
Westworld.
from you, yeah.
Life's hard. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm saying this guy tries to buy Shasta. And as they're talking about Shasta walked up to that horse and said, "Horse, I wish you could talk." And Bree goes, "Girl, I can." And then they ride off into the night because they're both slaves, so they escaped together. Now, what do you think happens next, Morgie?
Okay, so we got our horse, we got our boy.
We're traveling.
Titular example. Basically,
We're learn to write.
it's like time to wrap it up. We got everything done.
It's done.
It's done.
And the book
We
ended.
fixed everything.
The book ended. It was actually a short story. 500 words or less. So on the way north, they meet Aravis and Hwyn.
Yes,
right?
that makes sense.
And here's the thing, and this is something I really want to talk about. There's a lot of problematic shit in this. I should have said that right off the bat. I hope I didn't offend anyone by not saying it immediately, because this is such a racist book.
Yeah.
Like, really racist. You have to say it to read it.
I feel like we've said a similar thing a lot of times when talking about C.S. Lewis.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there's a comparable amount of racist content or like sub-racist content in the works of Tolkien at all?
Definitely not.
And I wonder
Well,
why. Like, why?
actually, let me back up for a second. Yes, actually.
With like the orcs?
Oh, the Southern men.
Oh,
That's who
yeah,
the Kellermans are.
yeah,
The Southern men.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
coded to be Middle Eastern.
Uh-huh.
The thing is just they played a smaller role in the worldview that we see in Lord of the Rings. Like, they're not only villains in The Horse and His Boy, Kellermans, they're also the main villain in The Last Battle, and they've showed up, here and there 2 or 3 times. So he just uses them more. But actually, I think they've got the exact same racist image. They both make, like, notoriously evil and cruel, brown skin, coded Middle Eastern societies that then they can just be like, they're villains, period.
It's one of those things where it's like, do you just like have to accept these as like that being a product of the author and their time and like the wars that they served in and like the fucking communities that they lived in, right? Like fucking England, like Oxford, like this white ass like little bubble of a like
early
collegiate
20th century.
town.
Yes. Oh my god, I can't imagine a more lily white and entitled place.
Yeah.
Honestly, privilege for days. What privilege?
Yeah.
But I will say, now here's one thing. Aravis is Kellerman. That sounds wrong. But she's of that culture. Whereas, in Tolkien, we don't never meet none of those
there's no people.
men or women.
Yeah, we don't have a main character.
In a way, his racism is actually even more racist because the reason this is racist, The Horse and His Boy, that is because it's not so much that they're coded Middle Eastern, is that except for Aravis, who also like has to pay a price, they're all bad. And when you show a whole culture of people, and we meet, I would say solidly we meet 5 of them, like a lot. They're like minor characters. But overall, we meet like probably 200 of them, passing in the streets and doing this and that. And they're either neutral or they're evil. And that's a problem, man.
Yeah.
If you're in a bustling city, you're going to meet a nice person no matter what the majority skin color of the city is. You know what I mean? And Aravis isn't that nice also. But we can maybe get to that. But this is a racist book. It is racist. There's no way around it. And so it's hard to reread it as an adult. But I do think he does give us this strong female character. And she is very strong. Here's what I'll tell you. Here's the difference, I think. Because you were like, this comes up a lot. The racism, I think, comes up less in the misogyny. And to me, the racism is more stark than the misogyny. I think as a man in his time period of his social class, he was actually pretty much a feminist. But looking at it today, we're like, girl, that's not enough, which I stand beside. But I think it's unfair to be like, look how you treated Susan. Because he also wrote Lucy and Jill Pole. And like, he didn't have to write any women.
Susan.
Fucking Susan.
Yeah.
Who actually shows up in this book.
Wild.
Yes. Edmund, Lucy, and Susan are all like on a vacay in the city that Shasta and Aravis and the horses come to. They're like there already on like a royal like visit. And so they all fucking show up. And Susan is still the worst.
Makes sense.
She is considering marrying Rabidash, who's the prince of like Kellerman, and he's like the worst. Like, think of the douchiest frat boy piece of shit. That's him.
And is it just because she wants to stay?
No. Once he came to Narnia and was real sweet, and he's good looking, very good looking. The Kellermans are beautiful people. Like, C.S. Lewis may be racist, but he can't take away the fact that brown skin and silky long black hair is gorgeous.
Makes you
like,
better.
He can't take that away. Yeah. But no, the story is that Rabidash, the prince of Kellerman, he came to visit Narnia to court Queen Susan. He was real sweet. But then Edmund and Susan and Lucy went back to Kellerman with him, and then he was not so sweet. And they were like, oh, he's a dick, actually. And then he said, guess what, Susan? You marry me, or I'm not going to let you go.
Oh.
Yes.
That doesn't seem like good alternative.
And you know who else was there with them?
Aslan.
Mr. Tumnus, also Aslan. But Mr. Tumnus came too. He also shows up in this.
Also a great candidate for marriage.
I mean, I would be marrying Mr. Tumnus.
Girl!
I don't care if I do have a full-on goat.
He's got a nice little hovel that you can like go in and have that wine and cheese.
It was only a hovel after they broke down the door, girl. Before that, it was a cute little shack.
That's true. That was really rude to mention that.
You're being unfair, hovel. Okay, so then they're there, and Mr. Tumnus is like, girl, we got to get out of this city.
So smart, so bright.
Mhm.
Always with words.
He's good. And then the other people agree. And then Edmund and Lucy are like, yeah, girl, we gotta go. And Susan's like, I hate myself. I'm such an idiot.
Can you
and
remind
Susan, go home.
us, like, what is the age range of, like, our former Narnians?
Thank you for that. So this book, The Horse and His Boy, is set in it's like the last paragraph of A Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, where they're like, and they ruled for 40 years or something before they just one day were whisked home or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they go back to the Lantern Wood and they're whisked home. Yeah. That's what happens. So this is set while they're king and queen. And it's kind of like, actually, Peter he's not in this book because he's off fighting the giants in the north, which we know is very near the end of their reign. Because that's one of the last big things he does before they get transported back home. So we know that this is near the end of their reign.
Nice.
Sometime in there. They reign for like 40 years. Yeah. So it's sometime in there. Near the end. Anyway, so girl. So Tumnus is like this GTFO, you know. And so they do a whoopsie doozle and they sneak out and they sneak under the boat. They get away safe. But at the same time, we got some of the Prince and the Pauper shit going on. You know that story, Prince and the Pauper?
Yeah.
One's a prince, one's a pauper?
Yeah.
Okay. The prince, his name is something. Coranus. Wait, just a second. Where's this motherfucker? Oh, no, here he is. Okay, I forget who is who. I'm sorry, I couldn't read my notes. I forget who is who. Shasta is actually a prince from Archenland, which is just to the west of Narnia. And just north of the big desert that protects them from Calormen. And he had done gone missing when he was a baby, which is how he ended up down in Calormen, rescued by a fisherman. We find out later that Aslan done palled him in to shore, but that's neither here nor there. But he has a brother who's his twin brother, whose name is either Cor or Corin, I forget.
I love a twin brother situation.
Oh my god, it's amazing. Yeah. It's amazing. And then they see Shasta / I think his name's Cor. Edmund does. And he's like, Corin, get back in here. Because Corin had done run away in the city to have some fun.
Like you do.
Yes. And so then Shasta gets pulled up away from his two talking horses and his friend, who's not really his friend yet, Aravis. And he gets pulled up into the palace. And then Shasta's like, what the fuck? And then there's Mr. Tumnus. He doesn't know what to make of that, goat man.
Fair.
Yeah. And then blah, blah, blah. He escapes from there. The other prince comes back, but they're very like, we look very alike. But they don't put it together. Which I'm still like, girl, wouldn't you?
Real Parent Trap situation.
It's a Parent Trap situation. It really is, yes. Yes, it's very much. And then the four of them, that is Bree, Hwin, Aravis, and Shasta, travel across the desert because Rabidash, when Susan got away, Rabidash was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to invade... and not Archenland. I'm going to invade Archenland and kill everybody.
Which is like such a millennial move.
I mean, look, he is a millennial, except he's not because he was written in 1954. But he's close to him.
Still.
He's like a millennial in his. Well, he is. He's very like I want to rule already. Yeah. So that's millennial trait.
Yes.
And he's like, I'm gonna kill everybody on Archenland, and then I'm gonna fucking attack Narnia. And then, because here the thing is, the reason they've never attacked, because they have a really powerful army in Calormen. They're like, they have an empire, but they can't get across the desert. And Narnia's navy is just as good as theirs. So that's like the reason. But they're like, girl, if we can own Archenland, then we can slowly move our army across, and then we can attack the fuck out of Narnia. So that's what he's going to do.
Smart.
Yeah, that's what he's trying to do.
That's the same problem in Game of Thrones that the Dothraki had with the sea. It's like they have a far superior army and fighting style. There's just a big blue ocean in the middle.
Exactly. And, well, physical barriers. I mean, that's real life. So much of our history as a world, as a culture, world culture, has been decided by fucking geographical boundaries and shit. You know, it's like Hannibal riding over the mountains to attack Rome, right? Yeah. Without those elephants and shit, and him deciding to go over the mountains, which no one like ever went over, it wouldn't have worked. You couldn't take Rome like that. But Carthage done won that battle. Anyway, so they travel across the desert. Girl, it's hard.
It's hot, I bet.
It's hot. It's dry. Their lips crack.
Thirsty.
Yes, they're thirsty. They find a little oasis. I don't want to talk about how. It's a whole subplot. And then they get to Archenland. And then they meet one of my favorite characters of all time. Guess the name of this character. Just guess.
Morgan.
Couldn't be more wrong. His name is the Hermit of the Southern March.
Oh my God, is your spirit animal.
He's him and Heidi's grandpa from the Heidi books. The first hermits I ever met. That kind of like inspired me.
Heidi's grandpa's a big softie.
Oh, he's amazing. Yeah. Well, hermits are sweet people. That's why they run away, is because they can't handle it. It's too much. Anyway, the Hermit of the Southern March lives in a little shack. He's got a reflecting pool in which he can see the whole world. He magic.
Oh, well, that's a different kind of hermit. It's like you isolated but informed.
Exactly. He knows things.
Okay, cool with that.
And he's right there on the edge of the desert, and Archenland. And as they're like riding up to they see him. He's got a big beard. And they're like so tired and they've ridden so far. And they see Rabadash's army coming at them from behind. And so Shasta's like, let's do it. Let's go. And so they're riding. And then this fucking lion comes out of nowhere.
Oh, this bitch.
Now, this is the second, third time they've seen a lion. There have been lions trailing them since the minute Shasta met up with Aravis. That's the reason they met up. Is a lion actually scared them on both sides, so they had to come together. Interesting, that's a lion, eh? So this lion, Shasta gets there. Aravis and Hwyn, who she's riding, they're like coming up behind. And this lion, you think, oh, probably that lion's Aslan, right? Because like it's a lion. He's the only lion we've seen. Well, I'll tell you what, this lion done jumped on Aravis's back and done clawed down her back. Stripes down her back. So she's fucking injured. Okay?
Also, just like, that's a really rude thing to do.
It's super rude. It's super rude. And also, she's kind of like a warrior woman, and she doesn't even get one good whack in. You know, I'm like, girl.
That's upsetting.
Yeah. But I mean, I get it. If a lion was chasing me, I'd just be screaming. So I'm not judging her, but I'm just saying.
And then what happened?
Well, okay, so then they get in, and the hermit is like, girl Shasta, you have to go find the king of Archenland, King Nob or some shit, Noob, I don't know what his name is, and you have to tell him that Rabadash be coming, because if Rabadash surprises him,
they're gonna lose.
His whole plan's gonna work, and then it's the end of everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
So then Shasta is like, girl, I'm tired.
Which, same, girl.
Yeah, and the horse, he can't ride Bree no more, because the horses are done, plus Bree's afraid of lions. He's a warrior, but he's afraid of lions.
Same.
So he's devastated. He can't do anything. And so then Shasta's like, well, I guess I'll try. And he runs out the other side of the hermit's thing. He's trying to find the king. And he finds the king. Oh my God, it's great. But then the king is like, hey, girl, let's go back to our castle. And Shasta's like, more walking? Really? And then they give him a horse. And then they're riding back to the fucking castle. And then it gets misty. And Shasta's like, hey, where is everybody? And everyone's like, we're over here.
Oh, no.
You know, he can't find nobody.
Girl.
Yeah. So then he just continues on, and all of a sudden, he hears someone walking beside him.
I don't like
Girl,
it. But I bet it was
footstep.
Jesus, because when you only see one set of footprints in the sand, it's because Jesus was carrying you.
It's because he was carrying you, honey. It is Jesus / Aslan. It's Aslan. And then Aslan's like, hey, girl, eventually. Actually, what's interesting.
Hey, girl, hey.
Hey, girl. That's how everyone starts their sentences.
Me, Aslan.
Chronicles of Narnia. Yeah. No, actually, he waits until Shasta says something to him.
Okay.
That's the second time he's done that, I think. Because he also did that with Jill Pole in the Silver Chair. Like, when she was in that above ground land, after she accidentally pushes Eustace off, she stared. She's like in a stare off with him.
Whoops,
she's
killed
terrified.
My friend.
Yeah, she's terrified. And there's a giant lion by the stream she wants to drink. And anyway. So he's done that before. Anyway, eventually Shasta's like, girl, who are you? And he's like, I'm Aslan, I'm Jesus, whatever. He doesn't say that, but we know that's why he is. And I'm like a god, and like, you done a pretty good job, yo. And, you know.
He basically just talks in Ebonics.
Yeah, he talks in Ebonics, like, who doesn't? And then he's like, okay, girl, you made it. And then he's like, look out at this castle. And you can see that Rapidash is already attacking the castle.
Oh, they're too late.
They're too late. But then, does his ass gallop? He gets on a centaur. Somehow, he meets up with Edmund and his brother. He doesn't know it's his brother yet. And I think
Even
Lucy.
though they look like similar?
Even though they look so much alike that Edmund could look at them and take one for the other.
The same person, yeah.
So like, okay, whatever. Yeah. And then they all go to this battle and they kick the Calormen's asses. They bring all these Narnians. They're like leopards and centaurs and shit. And oh yeah, he does go all the way to Narnia. He does go all the way, or he goes close. He meets other Narnians and tells them. Anyway, so he's in this battle, and then at the end of the battle, they win. King Loon. That's the king of Archenland. And then King Loon is like, surprise, you're my son! And then he's like, what? But I'm just Shasta, a little slave boy with lily white skin. You know? And then he's like, I'm so sorry, my brother, whose name I can't remember. I think I've stolen the throne from you. And the brother's like, girl, I would much rather be a prince because it's a much better life. Enjoy being king of Archenland.
A fact of all royalty everywhere.
Yeah, it's not fun to be king.
I would never want to be a William if I could be a Harry.
Hello, goodbye. Girl. Red hair, don't care.
Meghan Markle.
Whoop, whoop. I've seen his ass and I like it.
Oh.
It's a good butt. You can see it online.
Thank
TMZ.
you. Thank you for that.
He went to a party in Las Vegas and he let it all hang out.
Okay.
So that's essentially the story. So in the end, the two horses get to live in Narnia. Shasta marries Aravis eventually. Aravis. Which I am pissed off about.
Why is that?
Because the way that, okay, there's a lot.
You think she should go back and marry the situation?
No, 0%. I think Aravis had okay. So this connects what we were talking about earlier with the misogyny thing. Okay. Like, yes, it's misogynistic because all of his female characters are shit except for Lucy. But it's also just dated and of his time. If he had written this today, because he wrote her as like a tomboy, she would be a lesbian. She would for sure, or perhaps queer or maybe transgender. But she's not just like a girly girl who's just going to marry a guy and
be the queen or whatever.
Yeah, like that's just not her. That's just not, it just doesn't make sense. So at the end, when they finally marry, I don't know where it is, but he's essentially like, C.S. Lewis is like, after many years and many arguments, Cor and Aravis decided to marry because it would just be easier to argue that way or something. And I was like, girl, they're not even really in love. You can't even give them true love.
Yeah.
But he doesn't really do love. Not romantic love. Yeah. He doesn't touch on it, so it's fine, I guess.
Well, you only marry for duty, right?
Yeah, for like poops, right? Duties.
Yeah, somebody's got to clean it up when you're old.
Exactly.
Don't you forget
That's why I married. Are you free? Can I marry you, clean my poops?
Well, Aaron's not dead yet.
What if I kill him?
That seems like murder, so I cannot support it.
What if you kill him?
Interesting. Crime of passion.
Oh! And, you know, if he's dead, you can then fucking android.
Right? I'm on the record!
Hey! Okay, so misogyny in general. Can I just tell you, there is a part. Speaking of misogyny, do you have any? I'm sorry, I know I'm monopolizing.
No, this is great. It's like reliving a thing that I've read, but like feel like it's brand new information. And like as a person who finds this to be a very forgettable story, I find it really fascinating to revisit it through the eyes of someone else who, number one, I think is a fantastic storyteller, but also breaks it down in digestible like lingo that I'm into listening to.
Yes, queen.
Because that's how I like to tell stories and how I just imagine all stories happen within my head at all times. So thank you so much for this.
You're so welcome.
Very interesting, and it's a really good lead up. We're getting closer to the end of the series, like
so close.
Very soon. We're gonna hit a prequel soon, and there's thoughts and feelings on that, and it's just like, what a fucking ride.
I've really enjoyed going through the Chronicles of Narnia. I mean, I'm a bigger fan of them than you are, I think, but we're both fans. We both read them.
Yeah.
And it's just been like, I've been rereading. So I've kind of had a journey with Chronicles that you had with Harry Potter.
Yeah.
The Harry Potter
like, I feel like sad in a lot of ways. I haven't had the time to like revisit this, but I also feel like empowered to like revisit it sometime in my future.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know. I might wait till like I have kids and like do it with
That would
them.
be so cute to read it to them.
Because it's just been because they're very digestible as far as like basic ass white kid stories. So like I feel like that's okay, but it's also just like really fun to try to like remember the time when, to me, this was like the most magical sort of stories to read before I was like deep in that Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings world. Then future fantasy.
I think every child should read the Chronicles of Narnia, even with the white bias. I know there are many children of color in the world.
Even with the religious bias, you don't have to read that.
Even with the religious bias.
You don't have to read that.
It doesn't matter because it is a fantasy adventure story that over and over touches kids' hearts. I mean, that's the thing. It's less about like, okay, what does it really mean? What are the themes? It's about, do kids like it? Yes, they love it. To this day, kids love it, you know?
It's also like foundational and like thematically like the building blocks of so many great fantasy arcs across many different series. So
if you want your kid to be a well-read adult, this is actually a great series to introduce them to right off the bat. Because you're right, it's foundational. You know?
And we've talked about this before. It's like, if there's something that a young person will read, whether it be comic books or fantasy or like maybe they're really weirdly into Jane Austen or like weird fucking biographies, like who knows? Like if it gets them reading, like it's a good fucking thing. So try this out.
Or you could just have them read the Bible.
Yeah, well there are some
that'll get them reading. Fascinating.
But like don't tell them the context around the things.
Just be like, this is a new adventure story. Yeah. Even though it's a really old story, so you're lying right off the bat.
Still an adventure.
That's it. It is an adventure.
But maybe skip the Old Testament. It's not kid friendly.
Oh, but that's all the good adventure. The New Testament is just like poems.
Okay, maybe skip the New Testament.
Yeah.
Only get them that. Oh.
Yeah, just that vengeful God shit.
Yeah, make them Jewish.
Yeah. Okay, so this is from page 205 of like 215, so it's very near the end.
Pretty close.
And everything's already won, and essentially everyone's just meeting all back up if they won the battle, okay? It's just 2 paragraphs. This is misogyny. This is misogyny in action.
Go on.
Presently, Queen Lucy came out from the castle and joined them, and King Loon said to Aravis, "My dear, here is a loving friend of our house, and she has been seeing that your apartments are put to rights for you, better than I could have done it." "You'd like to come and see them, wouldn't you?" said Lucy, kissing Aravis. They liked each other at once, and soon went away together to talk about Aravis's bedroom, and Aravis's boudoir, and about getting clothes for her, and all the sort of things girls do talk about on such an occasion. Bitch.
Lord!
So not only is that obviously like just claptrap from like men, but also like these are the 2 female characters we've seen in the well, except Jill Pole. I guess you might add in Jill Pole, who are like not just hateful women. Most of the women he writes are hateful pieces of shit, and these 2 girls are not. But then all of a sudden they're just like normal.
Ditzy.
When the entire book, Aravis, and we've already seen, Aravis has been like swords and horses and battles, and like she's very specifically been like, because we see a friend of hers earlier when they're in the big city, Calorman friend who's like a girly girl. She's very much not into bedrooms, boudoirs, and clothing, and she says that to her friend, like is a thing, and then all of a sudden.
That's all she cares about.
Yeah, and it's lazy writing on C.S. Lewis's part. No tea, no shade. I love the man. He's dead. Very dead. But R.I.P. But yeah, that's why I was trying to say. I love the man, but he's dead. R.I.P. But like that is just lazy misogynistic writing.
Interesting.
He just fell back on female stereotypes.
Ugh. And then on the next page it talks about when they start scissoring.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's extremely
And
graphic.
they scissored on and on forever. Yeah. The end.
Yeah. It was like a piece of dried salmon having sex with a bunch of roast beef. That was a good visual, eh? So you can see it, can't you? Okay, to be frank, I don't have a lot of experience with vaginas, so I don't know. That's my guess. Good God. I don't know. I mean, look, I'm glad I reread this book. I actually do recommend, if you were a fan of Chronicles of Narnia when you were a kid, reread this today. Because, for one thing, you need to see how racist it is.
Yeah.
You're going to be shocked if you were a fan as a child. I mean, it's extremely horrifically racist, actually.
I feel like that kind of shit happens a lot. Like, we look back on this in our eyes, seemingly innocent childhood thing that we probably loved, and then we're like, oh no.
Yeah. Well, because, and that's the thing is, today, I don't think C.S. Lewis would be a racist. I think he'd be a liberal, sweet Christian man. We know a couple examples of sweet Christians. It's possible.
Oh, totally.
And I think he would be lovely. I don't think he would write this today, but it's just of his time. There was a lot of, what they call it, like Eastern mysticism. I think they called it Orientalism. That, like, obsession with the Eastern world. It's like what you see in 300 with the Persians.
Yes.
It's very that. Like, Western culture for a long time, has had an obsession with Eastern culture and lifestyle. And that's what this is. It's racist because they were racist at the time. Like, everybody was. Like, everybody.
Totally. Yeah, it was rampant. And like we said, especially in, like, cultures and bubbles like an Oxford, or just, like, even England is such a small-knit community just made of deeply, deeply white people.
Yep.
Deeply.
Yep. Though, especially then.
Oh, during then.
Good Lord.
100%.
Good Lord.
Yeah,
if
we
you
got
were
a lot of
Irish,
immigration going on
they
these
were
days.
so white that they were like, Irish people aren't really white. That's how white they were.
Yeah.
That's white.
Translucent.
Yeah, girl.
It's a look.
If Irish people aren't white, who's white?
Girl.
They are so
They
white.
got red hair.
Girl.
That's white as hell. But also, they're still racist against Northern or Irish Ireland, the Republic of Ireland.
That's still
There's
happening.
still tension.
Sure.
Very
Oh,
much.
of course. Yeah. But everyone agrees that Irish people are white now, though.
Well, yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know. It's like back in the day, like in America, Irish need not apply, right? That was a real thing.
So sad.
But I think that's more class than race-based. Don't you agree?
I definitely agree. In America with immigration, like, the Irish people were like thought
I
of really
assume
lowly.
in
They were lower
England too,
class.
right? Because Ireland was less industrialized than like England.
Yeah, that's
Maybe
a good
that's
question.
true.
I'm not
That
sure.
might be untrue.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either, but I think that's true. So really, that's that thing is like, we'll be racist. We being people, our history, cultural history, we'll be racist. But if we can't be racist, we'll be classist.
Yeah, girl.
And we'll be
find a way
sexist
to be
and
hateful.
homophobic the entire time.
Yeah,
like
we'll
that's
just
a given.
continue that.
That's a given.
Yeah.
So it's just of its time. But I will tell you, I think Shasta's a very sweet character. He's a really nice little guy. I told you already, he loves his little donkey, his stupid little donkey. And in the first, he kisses the donkey's, like, muzzle. And he's like, I wish you could come with us. And then later, when the lion who gores Aravis who is Aslan, by the way. It was always Aslan the entire time. We've never seen Aslan be this mean and scary as he is in this book. But the lion is chasing Aravis and Wynn. And Bree and Shasta are inside the hermit's enclosure. But then Shasta goes back out to save them. So sweet. And he doesn't even have a weapon. He picks up a rock.
Aww.
And he starts running at them and screaming to the lion to go home. Literally verbatim, he tells it to go home. He's a sweetie. He's a sweet little boy. And I think he's much more likable than any other character in Chronicles of Narnia.
Interesting.
Just who he is as a person. I like him a lot.
Plus, he's gonna be a king.
Plus, he's a king also. I mean, Edmund is still my favorite character, but Shasta knocked Eustace out of the second slot. So now for me, they're all men, but look, I don't have many choices.
Yeah,
okay,
there's not a lot of options.
Yeah, it's hard to pick a girl because there aren't that many good ones. It's just Lucy, and she's probably fourth for me, so it's fine. Who so far? Are there any characters that you've been drawn to? I know you haven't been rereading, but we've been talking about them a lot.
I mean, Lucy has, like, always been this sweet little idol. Sweet, innocent little Lucy. Of course, drawn to, like, the darkness of, like, the White Witch.
Sure. Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I you really turned me on this Eustace situation. Like, at first, I was like, hard no.
Sure.
But you really turned it around by, like, talking about how he, like, goes through this journey and, like, basically becomes a completely different person, like, the best version of himself. And I'm into that. So I'm shipping that. Girl, don't even talk to me about Edmund, though. What's wrong with Edmund? We're not gonna get there.
But hey, he's so good.
We're just not gonna get there.
Are you just mad because he likes that Turkish delight so much?
No, I relate to that. I'm not mad.
Oh. Well, we both love it.
But I do think it's a trash brother.
Well, he's better than Susan. And frankly, he's better than Peter.
That is the lowest bar I have ever heard.
It's shocking. It is shocking. And I, as a child, I didn't really realize how shitty Susan is. Upon reading as an adult, I'm shocked that C.S. Lewis even wrote a character so unlikable and damned.
Yeah. Do you think the girl who played Susan in the movies was like excited to play Susan because
She's
she was
beautiful.
clueless as hell?
Yeah, probably so. I mean, likely so. If she hadn't read it since she was a child, she's probably like, I'm the pretty one, which is true.
She is beautiful.
Oh, she's stunning. Yeah, I love that actress who plays her.
Very pretty.
Oh my god. And an English beauty. Very much an English rose.
But now she's stuck with like this Susan thing on her rap.
Yeah, and she's done too.
That's a tough
I doubt they're even gonna film The
Lord.
Horse and His Boy.
Well,
they might, but I doubt
remember
it.
they're doing something new, and we're not sure if it's going to be a miniseries or whatever. So we'll have to just like stay tuned if casting goes well. I mean, I feel like this story, like even though like everything is not a perfect comparison, but it really does have like this sort of Aladdin vibes, especially with like this like girl running away from a marriage and then like ending up being married to someone else, and then like becomes like this prince or this king and like whatever, and like he's a good person and deserves it or whatever.
I was, that is so fascinating you mentioned that. I wonder if he was literally inspired by is that in Arabian Nights, the original Aladdin tale? I'm sure he read that.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
Education.
Yeah.
So I wonder if I was thinking, there are two brothers of Helen in Greek mythology, Castor and Pollux. Yeah. They're twin brothers. And I was wondering if maybe...
Inspired by that?
Yes, because one of the brothers, the one that's not Shasta, I think his name is Chorus or something. He's like a pugilist. He's a fighter, which one of the Greek brothers was. And then Shasta becomes a great warrior and king, which is the same as... I think that was Castor, or may have been Pollux. But anyway, I'm saying those brothers with those specific abilities are from Greek mythology. So.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Like while like these stories are like helping lay the foundation for like modern fantasy, like of course these people are borrowing from the classics. Like,
look, girl, that's why I was a classics major, because I was like, girl, these are the oldest stories. These are the most like. This is what we have, the first stories we told. And you see the echoes of all those Greek and Roman classics all throughout Western literature. It's fascinating. I also think, though, Prince and Pauper, that is Hans Christian Andersen, isn't it? Or is it not?
Oh, like the fucking...
Like a fairy tale or something.
Yeah,
it might not be. But it's an old story.
It's one of those kind of things.
So that also could have been an influence. Because it's very that. I mean, it's very Prince and Pauper. It's interesting, though. This is very unlike the books that came before. I think The Silver Chair kind of gets us ready for The Horse and His Boy to have two non-Pevensey main characters who aren't even from Earth, also. Yes. And also come from cultures completely unlike ours. One's a slave, the other's a princess in the Middle East. I mean, maybe someone's a princess in the Middle East and reads this. Hopefully no one's a slave. But... we've come a long way since Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe.
We have.
Even though he does it in a problematic way, he is already expanding our worldview in a huge way.
Sure.
As if you're a child, fucking stupid-ass 7-year-old, this is mind-blowing.
Helping you step outside the box.
Exactly.
I love it.
Yeah,
definitely recommend Chronicles to young people everywhere.
And this one, just have a conversation with your child about the racism. That's all. No, I'm totally serious.
Just lay it out for them.
Yes, and say, look, literature has power, What did you hear in this chapter that made you think that all Kellermans are bad? Point it out. Talk to your kid about it. It doesn't have to be something we forget, because there's a lot of good stuff in there.
Yeah,
but just have conversations with your children.
I love that. That kid that you talk to about the systemic problems of racism is going to grow up to be that girl at college that everybody rolls their eye at, that grows up to be the CEO of like a fucking nonprofit that like makes a difference.
Or
tell your children.
Yeah, or a senator.
Yeah,
or the first female president. Or the first female empress of the world, which might be coming. Who knows?
I think Oprah's vying for that, but there's still some slots open.
Oh, please. No, it can't be Oprah. Yeah, I think who is going to actually be is somebody Chinese, probably. That's my guess.
Yeah.
But as long as she treats me good, I don't give a shit, girl.
Yeah.
I'll worship any empress.
I bet she'll be so pretty and she'll have all the fashion. I can look at it.
Exactly. That is literally no joke how I feel. Like, if she's gorgeous enough, I'm okay with it. I don't mean she has to be physically beautiful, just made up, bitch.
Like in Game of Thrones, when everyone's like, John, do you really think she's a good queen, or is she pretty? And he's like, I cannot answer.
Can I tell you, and now this is something I'd only do in a safe space when we're being recorded, which is very smart. I thought Danny looked a little puffy and not very attractive this last episode. First episode of season 8. Yeah, and I'm not like, that's not like, I'm not always like, oh, this woman looks unattractive. Like, I literally, if anything, I won't notice.
Yeah.
But normally I just notice people who look especially good. But I was like, Danny, is she pregnant right now?
No, she does have, so she just came out with, before the season started, she like launched a nonprofit and was like, listen to the news about me, and revealed that she has like this really, really rare like brain aneurysm problem.
Oh my
and
God.
since the break between season 1 and season 2 of the show, she's been having like many strokes and brain aneurysms.
Oh my God.
And it's just a thing that she has to live with for the rest of her life. And it's like,
are you making this up so I feel like a complete piece
No!
of shit? Wow.
No, not at all.
See, this is why we don't even, we should never fucking open your mouth and say someone looks bad.
And so she started this, and I'm not saying that's why she looks bad, girl. Maybe she was tired.
It is.
Because it's been happening since season 2. Since season 2.
Well, it's starting to wear on her, though, along chronic illness.
That's possible.
Because she looks a bit ill.
Also, they keep her really covered up since last season. Like, now that the winter is here, she wears really, really bulky clothes, too. And we're used to, like, the majority of Game of Thrones seeing her in, like scantily clad,
sexy. Yes.
You know, and like
just
not in a
effortless.
tacky way. Yeah, she just looks like
fabulous.
Yeah, flowing and beautiful fabrics. And so now she's like, she looks really bulky to me because she's also a really small person, and with like that much hair and that much clothes, and white is not this like gray white color they're putting her in is like not her best color. But anyways, yeah, she started this nonprofit because she was like, I'm not dead because I can afford to not be dead. Because I'm rich. And other people with this problem don't have the luxury, and there's a really high mortality rate for this particular disease that she has.
Oh my goodness. Well, there you go. Morgan, you should have said she looks bad, because I just told you, I just informed you that she has a chronic illness, and now you feel like an asshole. That is reality. Gaslighting.
Oh, it's great. But yeah, Game of Thrones final season's happening, so that's also cool.
Yeah.
Very into that right now.
We just, a couple of weeks ago, we put out a bunch of like refresher episodes on it. But we're definitely watching it. And you know what? Probably after the season ends, we'll probably do an episode on it and just talk about it.
Girl, it's going to be in like 5 seconds. There's only 6 episodes.
I can't believe that, man.
Crazy, yeah.
So it's only going to be 6 weeks of airing, is what you're saying.
Yes, yeah, back to back. No gaps.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, but did you also know, have we talked about this? We have a moment. His Dark Materials, the like show, is coming on HBO this year, but they don't have a release date. But when you watch Game of Thrones on HBO Go or whatever, they do all the trailers, and like coming this year, there's a trailer for His Dark Materials.
Now, okay, so I'm fascinated by that, and I want to talk more about that. I have HBO. You have HBO Go? Mm-hmm. I have HBO Now.
Yeah, they're different.
Why?
So, HBO Now is like any person can pay a subscription and have that. HBO Go is the digital streaming for people who have HBO added onto their cable. Now, I don't have cable or HBO added onto it, but I use someone else's login. So they have
But it is the exact same, though.
There's like, yeah, I mean, it's the same content. I think there's a difference in like when the content's available, maybe? I'm not really sure.
Well, that on the HBO Now, well, one would think you would get the content at the same time, but I would say if either of the two didn't get the content, I assume it would be HBO Now, and we did. I mean, I watched Game of Thrones like 10 minutes after it was airing.
Great. Then yeah, maybe there's absolutely no difference except for the cost and
But then of course you also have the option of getting the HBO channel on Amazon.
Yeah,
Prime,
and that's
or,
like
I think via
$8 a month.
Hulu.
But I don't think you get it same day. But I also am not sure.
No, you don't, because I've had that before.
But it's cheaper.
It's a little cheaper. On I think on Amazon Prime it's like $15 a month. Because I did that for
well that's like the
same price. And then I think
price,
on Hulu, I don't know. Yeah.
It's like the same price.
I think it's $15 pretty much across, unless you get like a special, special value
introductory rate or something.
Anyway, well, this is going nowhere. But I was just very confused because like there's so many HBO options.
I think they're confused too, and they're like not monitoring the login situation at all. Because the one that I use, like 8 other people also use it.
And isn't HBO Go what they were saying? Like share your password. Wasn't HBO literally like, please share your password so more people can watch our shows? I remember that happening like last year or something.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, it's working.
Well,
They sharing.
Speaking of sharing passwords, what should people be sharing about us online?
Well, they can log into our accounts with 420-69-69-69. Yeah, boy!
And
that's
the password. The password. Oh, that's the password. Okay, the login name then is Morgan is the bitch.
Oh.
You didn't see that coming.
Mick is a liar?
_. Capitalize. But Morgan really is the bitch, though. THO.
At AOL.com.
At AOL.com. Yeah. Okay, so anyway, you can find us on YouTube. Okay.
Yeah, we have literally every single episode on there.
Morgan, why are you lying through your teeth right now?
All right, we're missing like one episode.
And just be honest with people. Jeez Louise.
I like to set the expectation.
Yeah, so then you can disappoint. That's smart.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then on YouTube, we also have Let's Queer Witcher 3.
Yes.
A 40-part Let's Play of Witcher 3.
Check
now,
it out, y'all.
Did I finish the game? No, I didn't finish the game.
But we don't expect them to finish the game either.
Girl, that game is like 300 hours long.
That's insane.
Honey, I did 40 hours.
That's
How much more do I have to do?
Good.
I mean, I did finish the game by myself.
I think Aaron probably put 40 hours into Apex Legends today.
Wow, see, and that doesn't seem possible, but some people are passionate. You know?
About Apex Legends.
About Apex Legends. I don't know what the fuck that is.
Yeah, me neither, girl.
Is it Star Wars?
No, it's just some thing, some game.
It's just a thing. Does he train
it's like
dinosaurs?
Fortnite, but it's
Oh no, it's different.
It's like Fortnite, but it's different.
So people can also find us on Twitter.
Oh yeah,
Tweeting on Twitter.
Yeah, we on Instagram.
Gramming on the Insta.
We on Facebook.
And facing on the book.
You can search us on any of those. We're at B&Bcast, or just type in Beauty and the Bitch. You can find us.
You can just Google us, and frankly, we'd all pop up.
And if you're having trouble finding somewhere to listen to our podcast, we do have our own website where we have our feed up there live, so you can listen directly from there on your laptop or wherever.
It is B as in boy and B as in boy cast .wordpress.com.
That's right, bnbcast.wordpress.com.
But you can just search Beauty and the Bitch WordPress and also pop right up.
Totally.
And then, and also we're on like iTunes and Android apps and every
you
podcast
can get
app.
your podcast, you just find us there.
So yeah, my older sister Miranda is always like, I can't find you, and I'm like, girl, well, do you listen to a podcast? Because we're on every app.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as I know,
just any app you're on, just type in Beauty and the Bitch.
Yeah, and then while you're there, you know what? You can subscribe. You can rate, you can listen, but I don't really care about that. And then you can write a good review.
Please review us.
Yeah.
It really helps other people find us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And only 5 stars. Don't come at me with no goddamn 3-star review saying I'm mediocre.
We're not into
I will burn your fucking house down. Is that mediocre?
Okay, that sounds aggressive and also completely factual. He will be at your house.
Fear me.
So fear him, but also love us, because we love you.
We do love you. Oh, and just before we finish up, a little bit of news, because I was going to do this.
Oh, yeah,
I forgot.
life updates.
Okay, life updates. Just very quickly, we want everyone to know that I am moving. By the time you hear this episode, I will have moved already.
To hell.
No, I'm actually going to Arkansas. But I'm going to like Northwest Arkansas.
It's so like, pretty.
It's like super gorgeous. Like the Ozarks.
So pretty.
Like Fayetteville, which is like the best town in Arkansas.
So
for sure,
lovely. Not far from Eureka Springs.
Not far from Eureka
Lots
Springs.
of great hauntings to happen upon there.
God. And you know what? If I want to go kill myself, I'll go do it in Oklahoma, which I'm nearby.
Great. Just wait for tornado season. You won't even have to do anything.
Oh my God, I love it. I love it. So I'm moving to Arkansas, and we are not pausing the podcast. We are not canceling the podcast. The podcast is going strong.
Just living life.
It's going strong.
Yeah.
So we have actually, I think, recorded enough episodes. There won't even be a break or anything.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be.
I haven't calculated the days, but it's possible there's no break. If there's a break, it's going to be a very short break.
Very short.
But rest assured, we're going to use interdisciplinary technology to correspond between the state lines and bring you beautiful people all of the news.
We're going to be using computer science.
Yeah.
Engineering.
Yeah.
We're going to be using biotechnology.
Yeah.
We're going to be using chemical physics.
Yeah,
which I just made up.
Like first and foremost, we're gonna be using Google to find out how we're gonna do it. We have put little research.
We have heard people do podcast episodes where they're across the world or country, so we know that it can be done.
Possible.
We just have to figure it out.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is just you'll probably know the first time we do a long distance.
Yeah, it might be rough for like
It might be a
1
little rough.
minute.
But girl, think about how rough our first episode ever was.
We've come a long way.
We've come a very long way. We don't talk for 2 hours at a time, for one thing.
Oh, we do. We just start the first hour before we record.
That's true. That's
a
actually
fact.
what we've learned. That is
a
actually
fact.
what we've learned. Yes, we just
We
talk
catch
out
up for an hour, and then we talk at you.
But anyway, so that's happening. Don't worry, it won't mess with the podcast at all. And then upcoming, I'll be giving you updates on land that I buy out in the country and the homestead I start. And I might even start an Instagram. Oh, I've got adventures coming.
You're definitely starting an Instagram.
I should
That's
definitely
how
start
I
an
need
Instagram.
my information.
Yep. I've been getting more into Instagram. I'm into it. Yeah. So that is all upcoming. Everything's changing. Nothing is changing. Be scared. Don't be scared. Feel safe. Don't feel safe. Welcome to life.
We love you.
And we love you.
All right. Bye, baby.
Bye.
See you soon.
Don't feel safe.
Do you have a home? Beauty in the Bitch.
You
You look.
bitch.
Bitch. Beauty in the Bitch.
Beauty in the bitch.